Hi class, today in FF 243 Digital Flats and Specs, we're going to be speccing out a set. We're going to be speccing out a hooded jacket with a pant. This is a children's size. So what we're going to do is today we're going to just point out all the measurements. We're not going to put down the actual specs in spec pack because it is a different spec pack that would be used. But this is what I want you to be able to take this jacket and make it into a size 9 juniors. Because a lot of times you're going to be getting different garments in different sizes, and you have to be able to make it into the size 9 junior that you'd be using. So in other words, I want you to be drawing this on your croquis that I gave you with the grid. After you've gotten the sketch done, I'm going to want you to put down the specs of the garment. It's going to be for size 9 junior. Again, each square is 1 inch. So after you draw it, you're going to be measuring the squares across and down to determine the size of the jacket and the pant. This is something that you'll have to do in the industry, and so we're going to practice doing that today. So right now I'm going to just point out the different measurements that you need to put into the tech pack. From there you're going to create the actual measurements after you sketch. Okay, so we're going to start off with the jacket. Always, whatever garment you're doing, make sure you lay it flat before measuring. This happens to be a velour, it's a knit. Make sure you don't stretch things out of shape. You're just laying it flat to where it just easily lays. Okay, so the first measurement that we always do when we're doing a top is the neck width. Again, you take your clear ruler and you're going to place it from high point shoulder right here to high point shoulder right there. Okay, and if you do just right to the edge here, straight across to the other side, actually with your clear ruler, you're able to see that it is 6 1/4 inches across the neck, but we're not putting that down. Okay, that's just the neck width. You're going to figure that out on your sketch. Then for the neck drop, you leave your clear ruler here and you start at the top of the ruler down to the actual seam. That is right here. So that's the measurement you would put here. Now for the back neck drop, just open up the hood a little bit so you can see the back neck. The back neck happens to be where the taping is, right here, the back neck. It says Izod. So from the top of the ruler to the top of the tape, that one right there, in this case, is 3/4 inch. It'll be different on yours. The bust measurement. So again, you always measure down the bust 1 inch. Okay. And then you're just going to measure straight across edge to edge. Okay, that's for the bust. This particular garment does not have a waist, so you're not going to have to put a waist because, as you can tell, it's going straight down. So there's no waist measurement or position that you need. Next, we're going to do the sweep of the garment. So we're going to go right here to the very edge of the garment, and this is where you get the sweep. So it's going to be different for you. Now, let's do the cross shoulder. So we're going to go right here from the very top of the sleeve cap seam straight across to the top of the sleeve cap seam. That is a cross back shoulder. Now we're going to measure the sleeve. Now we have a different sleeves. We have short sleeve and we have long sleeve. This is a long sleeve, so we're going to measure the long sleeve, which again will go to the back here. You have to go from the center back of the neck is where you start. This has a hood, so it's easy because the seam is right here, center back. Again, put your plastic ruler from high point shoulder to high point shoulder right here. Okay. Now you're going to start at the center back seam and you're going to measure. So you go to the top of the ruler to the shoulder, and then after that you're going to follow the shoulder line straight down and the sleeve right here on the edge of the sleeve straight down. Measure all the way to the edge of the cuff, and that's how a long sleeve is measured. Now we need to have sleeve opening. So sleeve opening, you're going to actually put 2 sleeve openings because it has a rib cuff, it actually brings it in a little bit than the actual velour part of it. And since these two areas stretch differently, you're going to have to put two different measurements. So the first measurement is the cuff opening, the sleeve opening. That would be the very bottom here. Just follow along in between the rib to rib and measure like that. Now, the other measurement, which you'll have to add in the yellow area, is the measurement of the actual sleeve. Name it sleeve above cuff 1 inch. So we're going to measure here 1 inch above the cuff where it's sewn, and then we're going to measure directly across here. So as you can see, this is bigger than it is here. So this way, when they make the sleeve, they're not going to make the sleeve going narrow to fit into this area. They're going to make it wide and make the rib, make it come in narrow. Otherwise, it's not going to fit, and it's make it very tight at the wrist. You always have to remember to do that when you have different fabrics that fight each other and that you need to have wider. So make sure that you have these two measurements. The other measurement you want to put is the muscle 1 inch below armhole. Again, you're going to measure 1 inch below armhole. Put your pin, and this is the muscle. So we're going to measure directly from the inside edge straight across. Okay, and because it's knit, on knit, don't forget all the measurements that you're going to be doing is on the half, not the whole. So every measurement is just half of the garment. Okay. Now we're going to do armhole around curve. So front and back are the same, so you just have to measure right along the armhole curve, right along like this, to the seam, side seam, and that's going to be the armhole curve. Go straight here to the high point shoulder, all the way down to the bottom edge of the rib. That's going to be high point shoulder measurement. Across front, across back is 5 inches down. Put a pin. And now you're going to measure straight across from the armhole to the armhole, and you're going to get that measure. That's across front. Now you do the same for the back. Measure from the high point shoulder down 5 inches. And then you're going to measure again, do it this way, straight across from seam to seam. Okay, that's a cross back measurement. Because it's not going to be graded out. So everything else now is going to go on this sketch area. Okay, we'll start with the front. We'll do the hood. The hood will be the detail of this garment, and also the pocket is going to be the detail of the garment. So you're going to have two things that you're going to detail for the jacket, the hood and the pocket. First of all, the drop shoulder. Like I said, the women's clothing always has a drop shoulder. Depending on what it is. So you're going to have a drop shoulder from anywhere from 3/8 of an inch to 3/4 of an inch. Okay, this one happens to be like 1/2 inch, so you can stay with 1/2 inch for the drop shoulder. So indicate with the arrow, drop shoulder 1/2 inch. Okay, next thing we're going to measure is where the ruffles start. Okay, it's very important. So you're going to have two measurements. You're going to have here along the armhole, and you're going to have from the center front down. So here along the armhole, you start at the very top, not the drop shoulder. From the very top, just measure along the seam. And for this garment, you can do the same measurements actually for the junior. For this one, it's 2.5 inches. So put 2.5 inches right there. And then from the center front down, it is 1 3/4 of an inch. 1 3/4 of an inch. Now notice the ruffles, how they look. They have to be drawn exactly like this. This is pearl marrow, pearl marrow, pearl marrow, and it's even pearl marrowed right here, which has a little bit of an edge here. So you have to show this edge with the pearl marrow, and you have to show the gathering on each of these. Okay. The first ruffle is 3/4 of an inch wide, so you're going to put 3/4 of an inch wide here. The second one is actually 7/8 of an inch wide, so put 7/8 of an inch wide, and the last one again is 7/8 of an inch wide. So 3/4, 7/8, 7/8. That's how you're going to indicate it, because they are different sizes here. You want to also indicate the zipper. what type of zipper. This happens to be a number 3 plastic separating zipper. So you're going to put down here number 3 plastic separating zipper. Okay. Notice that you don't see the zipper. So you're just going to point with the arrow, zipper. It shouldn't be shown at all. It should be completely closed. You don't see the zipper. You can just see the zipper pull. So that's the only thing I want you to actually draw is a zipper pull. The rib, we're going to measure from the top of the rib to the edge, and this is 1 3/4 of an inch. Again, yours might be different. Cuff height also, and this one is also the same. So you can make the cuff and the bottom of the rib the same width. Also notice the stitching here. This is single needle top stitch, and it is 1 1/4 inch. So you're going to put 1 1/4 inch single needle top stitch for both of these. They sewed it not very good, but here going across and on the cuffs, okay, and also down the placket. 1/4 inch SN is what you're going to put, and also around the neckline. It goes all the way around to the back, so make sure you have the stitching here also. Make sure also with the ruffles that you are sketching them exactly as you see them. Don't use a ruffle that you might have in some kind of library or anything. You need to use the ruffle that you see. This is the one that you have to do. Now the next point that we're going to do, also notice that there's gathering at the cap of the sleeve. There's like some gathering. You have to indicate that on the sketch too, that there's gathering. This one you can put down for gathering. You can point to and say 2 to 1 gathering. Okay, 2 to 1 gathering. So you're going to just make this pocket, do it as a call out underneath the jacket. Now to measure the pocket, we're going to go right straight across here from edge to edge, and this one is 8 3/4 of an inch. Okay, yours is going to probably be different, so don't put that down. You need that measurement. You need the top of the pocket measurement. Okay, this is 5 inches, so I'm just giving you 5 and 8 3/4. So when you do make yours, that it is similar, and that this is a lot smaller than the bottom. Okay, then you're going to also want to give the curve measurement so your hand can stick in it. Remember, this is children, so they have a smaller hand that fits inside. But don't forget that when you're doing the junior one, you have to be able to fit your 4 fingers into the pocket. So you're going to make it bigger. So you just measure along the edge of the pocket, and you're going to give that measurement. Make a curved arrow when you do it and put the measurement there. Now you need the height. So you just start from the center front to the bottom edge. This one happens to be 5 inches. Yours is going to be bigger because you're making it for juniors. Well, you also need, the side seam, which this one happens to be 2 inches. So yours is all going to be going this way, and this way. So just make sure that it looks similar to this, only bigger. The back, again, you'll see the gathering at the top of the sleeves. You have your 1/4 inch single needle stitch around the neck, 1/4 inch single needle stitch at the bottom above the rib, and again on the cuffs. Now I want you to draw the hood like we've done the hoods before, but this one is different from the other one because it does have a seam all the way from the back all the way to the front. Okay. Now this one is lined, so you're going to have to indicate with the arrow this is lined hood. So you have to point to it on the inside and put lined hood. Also notice too that you see the back and the front sketch. So you're going to have to put this taping right across here. The taping on this one is 3/8 of an inch. So you're going to take an arrow out here and put 3/8 of an inch binding or taping in this case to show that. Now the hood that we're going to do is, as a detail, we're going to do the side of the hood like we did before. The measurements that we have to do, of course, is the opening. So we're going to do a measurement of the opening straight down to the seam. This one happens to be 12. You can use the same measurements that you did before on the other hoodie that is a junior, so you can use those measurements for the hood. You have to do the measurement where you come down 3 inches to get the widest part of the hood. Remember, come down 3 inches from the top, put a little pin there, and you're going to measure straight across, okay? Don't use this measurement, use the previous measurement that we had. And then you also have to measure around the hood. So just follow from the back seam, neck, all the way across is how you get this measurement, the full measurement of the hood. And then you come to the front. That's a measurement, and that's where you indicate a arrow that's curved, and you give the measurement of the full hood. Now the other thing we have to indicate, you have to put this ruffle here. Notice that this ruffle is different from this ruffle. So these two have to look different, and they are different. So you have to sketch exactly what you see. Notice the pearl marrow on each side. There's one single needle stitch going down the middle. I'll give you the measurement for the ruffle width that you can use. Put 1 inch wide, and then like I said, just make sure that you sketch it with the pearl marrow on both sides and with the stitch in the middle. Okay? I want to show you one more thing. Look at the pocket. Look at how the needle stitching is. This one right here is, there's a double needle right here at the top. There's a double needle right here on the side, and single needle at the bottom. And you do have the stitching going down the middle of the pocket here, 1/4 inch on each side. Now you have a double needle, but it's away from the edge. So this double needle is actually 3/4 of an inch. So this one you would indicate with the arrow 3/4 of an inch double needle for this particular stitching. Okay. Then this would just be double needle, 1/4 inch top stitch, 1/4 inch top stitch. Okay. The pant is in the children's size, and you're going to have to put the measurements of what it comes out into junior size. Notice when I flatten the pant down, you are also going to see the back of the pant coming towards the front like we had with the jeans. So you're going to have to indicate that for a while going down. And actually in this case, it's actually, when I lay it completely flat, it actually goes down all the way to the bottom. Okay? So you're going to note that the back comes to the front, but all the way to the bottom on this particular pant when you're drawing it. Also notice the side seam, same thing with this one. It goes right here. You're going to see the back coming towards the front from here all the way down to about this area, then it blends in. So you have to show that. That way they know how to make the pattern of the pant. Pull up the waist together. And because this is actually on the waist, you're not going to have any drop waist measurements to give. Again, just measure it straight across without stretching on the top edge. This is actually going to be, the measurement is going to be the elastic waist measurement completely around. So this isn't rigid, this is elastic because it actually stretches out. The low hip, and then remember that you put, for juniors, you're going to come down 6.5 inches. And again, 6.5 from the back down. Let it lay flat. Okay. Then you measure from total edge of the side seam, straight across the middle, then back over here to the edge, very edge. That's how you get your low hip measurement. Measure from the top of the waistband for the front, following the rise to the seam here. That's the front rise right here. Now the back rise, again pull the back up so you get it to the seam. You see everything in the back. I'm going to flatten it from top of the waistband all the way down to the seam. That's the measurement we're going to do for the back rise. The inseam, you only do inseam or outseam. Inseam is better and it's easier for them to do. So do the inseam just from the crotch area. Follow the edge down to the very bottom edge of the pant. That's your inseam measurement. This one does come in a little bit at the knee and flare out a little bit. So on this one, we're just going to go down 9 inches, but on juniors, you're going to go down 14 inches. Okay, so 14 inches for juniors. Just put a little pin there, and then you're just going to measure for the knee straight across like that. Okay, and again, this is a knit, so you only have to do the half on all of the measurements. Bottom opening, just go right along the edge to edge, and that's the bottom opening width. Note that there is a slight gathering here in the front going all the way around, so you need to make sure there's a little gathering because elastic is making it gather. Note that this taping is in a bow, but this is fake because in children's it's fake. Sometimes they do in juniors also to save money, but this is actually just tacked on. They make a bow and they tack it on, and that's the measurement. So we would measure here, we would actually measure from the knot down for the tails is what we'd measure. This one happens to be 5 1/4. Then we would measure the bow tie area. That way they know what to do to the middle of the knot, and that's 2 inches. So this gives them, if you go 2 inches by, let's make sure I said that right, 5 inches, then they know how much to tie it up and everything, and then they also know how much taping they have to buy and how much taping it takes. Now the detail that I want on the pant is just this pocket area right here. So this part you're going to take after you make it and bring it down as a detail below the pant. Now with this you have to open it up a little bit because it's gathered here. You want to get the exact measurement, but don't pull it too much. So you're going to go here from the edge of the ruffle to the side. That's 3 inches. Okay, yours might be a little bit more because it's juniors. And then measure underneath the waistband down to where it's actually top of the ruffle, it's open. So that this one has to be 3 3/4 inches. Okay, you just need these 2 measurements. Now the measurement of the ruffle is going to be the same as the hood. So it's 1 inch wide. You're going to make this ruffle, and you have to do the same as you did the hood. This is the same ruffle that's on the hood. You can do the same look, pearl on both sides with 1 stitching in the middle, gathered up a lot right there. So that's the look that I want you to have. The waistband height, and also that'll indicate the measurement of the elastic. This one is 1 1/4 inch right here, and you can use the 1 1/4 inch also for the junior. And you're going to put 1 1/4 inch elastic waist. Okay, that way they know to put a 1 1/4 inch elastic in here. All right. Notice that the seam of the waistband is in the center back. The hem of the pant, if you notice here, it's a double needle, and it is 3/4 inch. So this is 3/4 inch double needle stitching for the hem of the pant. That's it for this jacket set. Now again, make it into the junior size range. You'll spec out after you draw it on the croquis I gave you, then you'll spec it out according to the inch little boxes and give me a spec for the whole garment, jacket and pant. All right.